Guys, we are back with another episode of the Savage Mode podcast. Today I've got my wonderful friends with me. I speak to them like at least once a week. So it's going to be good to have different perspectives today. Before we get into the topic, we're just going to introduce everybody. And then, we'll just get straight into it. So I don't know who wants to start with. Right to left, left to right. Who wants to go first? Let's go this way. All right, let's go this way. Let's go this way. Give us your name, occupation, age, if you want to, however you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shola, and I'm a project manager.
Okay, cool.
And a baker.
Ooh, yeah. Bruv, you already know my people's levels. Their levels.
I'm gonna go by my socials name. On social, I go by Civilized Savage, so that's me. Make of that what you will.
We mark up a little bit more so people can.
Sorry, I wear multiple hats. Teacher, yoga instructor, events host, world traveller. It's a lot of strings to the bow. So yeah, that's that.
Speak multiple languages.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I feel a bit flat now.
No. More will come out. Don't worry.
Okay. I'm Josh. I'm a producer, songwriter,
platinum producer.
Okay. And by day I'm an accountant. I travel a bit too. A little.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Sure. All right, cool. Yeah. So again, thank you guys for coming. Today's topic, as you guys know already, they know because I had to. They asked me to send it to them. They couldn't go with the flow. Yeah, they wanted to be prepared. I kind of wanted to be spontaneous, but it is what it is. Today we're going to be discussing how we were raised within a family dynamic, whether that be two-parent household or single parent, and how that affects our perception on life, our past, present, and future. So, the first question is, how were you raised? Were you raised in a single-parent household or dual parent? Let's start with that first. Yeah. So, for myself, I was in a two-parent household. My parents have been married for like 45 years, all that stuff.
That's good.
No, it is good. Don't get me wrong. It is good. But I'm talking about my parents and it makes me feel a bit, But yeah, it is a good thing. But
a lot of people, that's very different.
Yeah.
I think as I'm talking, I'll continue.
Go on.
In my personal experience, I was raised in a two-parent household until I was about like 16.
Okay.
And then my parents separated. So for the majority, I guess I was with both my parents. And then that dissolved. So I kind of have a bit of both, like living in a two-parent home, but then also experiencing like single parenthood, if that kind of makes sense. Although my mum was never a single parent because my dad, even to now, is still active in my life. So there's that.
Okay.
So that's kind of my.
Similar to you, I grew up in a two-parent household.
Right.
Parents married 30 plus years, all of that kind of stuff. They were both pretty present, which was good.
Shall I?
I'm a bit complicated.
Okay.
So I grew up technically in what you could say is a two-parent household.
Right.
But I grew up in a two-parent household of my mum and my stepdad. And then I've got my dad who is quite present. Not so much when I was like at a point when I was younger, but then I still would consider being like raised in a single parent household, if that makes sense. Because I don't feel like my stepdad was like really a father figure for me. So it's a weird dynamic. So I technically am two parent, but I was still say single.
And which parent do you feel you're closer with?
But now I'm older.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting deep. We're
It's
jumping
changed
in
over the years. I feel.
Yeah. I feel like I was dad's favourite.
Okay.
Sure. I feel like
your biological dad.
My biological.
Okay, fair,
I've always been a daddy's girl.
Okay.
Secretly, I'm still a daddy's girl.
Okay.
But I feel like now I'm older, I appreciate my mum a lot more.
Right.
So it's kind of switched a little.
Yeah.
I would say maybe I was a little bit of the reverse.
All right.
Yeah, from like in my very, very young years, I would argue that I was probably a daddy's girl. And I argue that because like a few things, but one particular thing I remember I was taken to my dad's mum's house, and there's a story that I'm forever reminded of. My dad took me over to my grandma's house and my dad left. And I cried to the point my grandma put me outside of the house because I was in name. And she put me outside the front. Go and go find him. She put me outside of the door. She closed it. She closed me outside of the house.
Wow. How old are you?
I was only like about 5.
5. Okay, cool.
So like in those very early years, I'd probably say that I was a daddy's girl. I think as I've grown up and even like through my adolescence, I think me and my mum are a lot closer. Me and my mum are very similar. Like people who have met me and my mum separately, I've kind of like, are you?
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're that similar, and so, and even though I would say I'm closer to my mum, I feel like there's still dynamics on both sides that are kind of shifting as we're kind of getting up in age. You know what I mean? I think as you kind of come really into yourself as an adult, there's kind of parental child dynamics to the relationship that start shifting. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like I'm really in that space now of just managing them in different ways.
In different ways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And again, because they're both present, I have relationships with both of them, but yeah, in very, very different ways.
Right.
I'd say for me, it's kind of been fairly like balanced.
Okay.
Most of like my childhood, I would say I was more or less equally. I think at certain times, I was maybe a bit closer to my mom, and then at other times I was a bit closer to my dad. And I think as I've grown older, maybe like into my 20s and like now into my 30s, I feel like I'm a lot closer with both of them. I think so. My parents are Ghanaian, and I feel like Africans in general. I feel like when you become an adult and they see you as an adult a bit more, then they kind of come a bit more down to earth with you.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than, whereas when you're like a child or a teenager, you're just a little boy. Like you can't have no real conversations with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like they don't reveal their flaws to you, or like them any mistakes they've
Yes.
made and stuff until you get older. So I feel like it's kind of been a bit of both, but then as I've grown older, like I've grown a lot closer to both of them, especially my dad. I'd say definitely, yeah. As like being a man and trying to kind of mentor me. And stuff.
So you're Ghanaian. So everyone's from where's your family from?
Both my parents are Jamaican.
I'm Nigerian.
Obviously, I'm Jamaican, so we got kind of mixed, kind of balancing.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
nice.
I think for me, over the years again, it's been mixed, mum and dad. I think the tightest I've been with mum, like she's the queen mother, like that's like mum's, he's the one. Dad, we've got better over the years. Obviously without straight putting bare family business thing out there. He never grew up with a dad himself, so his dynamic of like being a father wasn't. He was never taught that, so he didn't know. So he was figuring it out, like kind of thing. So my relationship with him has now, like same for you, it's as an adult has been like, okay, man to man more than boy to man. Does that make sense? So it's a very different. But me and mum, like she knows me inside out. That woman, like, she'll like she knows I'm here now. She'll be like, yeah, I know what he's gonna do for the rest of the day. Like she not that I tell her my business, but she knows my patterns very well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of a thing. So that's interesting. Did the environment you were raised in, or was the environment you were raised in, had a foundation of survival or love, and what did that look like? Yeah. Come on, you guys. I told you.
Do you know what's funny?
I told you.
Can I just say very quickly, like my little disclaimer is that when you sent out what the topic was, I was actually
Was you triggered?
I wasn't. In all honesty, I thought maybe you was trying to do a slick one and say this was the thing, and then try to do the Jedi mind trick and slip something else in. So I was like, do I even really like? Because I know you like to keep your things undercover. So like, is it really gonna be this though? So when you were saying like, oh, people didn't like, we're trying to get prepared, I didn't, because I was like, he's gonna talk about something else. Now watch me sitting here not knowing how to answer questions.
You look, come on.
So in answer to the question, I'm just like, oh, how do I even answer this? So repeat it one more. Love or survival?
Survival or love, yeah.
Ooh, do you know why this is sticky, yeah? For me. Because I feel like there's a part of me that's like, if I really told the truth, like...
Be open. Be as open as you want to be. Let's put that.
No, but this is... I'm talking through, like, do you know what I mean? It's like... Because there's an element of me that feels like, if I say this, does it then reflect negatively on my family? Do you know what I mean? I know it doesn't, but that's what's going through my mind right now. Do you know what I mean? And I know that it doesn't, but there is a kind of like resistance towards it. But anyway, so I would argue there was definitely love in my household, because me saying that kind of sounds like it was just wild, dramatic all the time. And it wasn't. There was definitely love in my household. I definitely felt loved growing up. That being said, because I can acknowledge the love that I experienced, it doesn't mean that I can't acknowledge that there were times where things were wild. Do you see what I'm saying? So if I had to choose, like for the most part, which one was it? I'll probably say in my very, very formative years, towards me, because like I feel like my parents' relationship was a bit.
Right.
So towards me, I definitely felt love from both of my parents.
Okay.
I think the environment though may have been a little bit more
survivally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you
how
know
are
what
we
I mean?
defining survival though? What do you mean by survival?
Bro, you tell me, bro.
But it's your question.
No. All right. Survival in a sense of like, if you had to choose between, all right, I was cultivated in this type of way through what my parents showed me or what the environment of what love was versus like, we didn't get any of that and it was just like, we just got to make it through day by day. type of thing.
Okay. You got to figure it out on your own. Okay, cool. I understand what you mean.
Or there was a compensation somewhere where your parent couldn't give you the love because of a survival thing on this point.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to go, innit?
I'll go. I think I think it's a bit of both.
Okay.
So like my family background, I'm the oldest.
Of course.
And I have two sisters, and my first sister, when she was about 2 years old, was diagnosed with autism. And that really shook my parents to the point where they kind of like really overcompensated, focusing a lot of their attention on her. So it's not that I didn't get love, but I definitely, there was a degree of like, I guess, neglect.
Okay.
And so I know that they loved me, but I think I just didn't get a lot of the attention that I needed because they were so focused on my younger sister. So I would say, like, for me, it was like a bit of both. Like, my household wasn't crazy. Like, there wasn't like mad stuff going on or anything like that. No one was selling crack. Like, out of the back of the yard all night and crazy like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it was definitely like, I can definitely, looking back, be like, I missed out on a lot of time, like one-on-one time, like, with them. So I would say it's a bit of both. Yeah.
I'm survivalist.
Survivalist.
My said it like, I'm black and I'm black.
And everything.
I'm the gold medalist in the survival Olympics.
Yeah, I think now I'm older though that there is a lot more love.
Right.
But I think definitely growing up it was more survival. I think a lot of African families, it's more of a survival mode than it is really love.
Right.
I think only for at least my age group, I would say, because I think the majority of our parents are like first generation out here in the UK.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to figure it out. You might find that some people, their parents weren't really present. Some that even when their parents were present, maybe their relationships weren't that great. Because like a relationship in like back home compared to a relationship in the UK, it's different. The dynamics change. They're having to like adjust to that. Then obviously bring kids into the mix. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I think most African kids of my age group being like, let's say early 30s, late 20s, probably would say they were more in that survival mode. Maybe their younger siblings might say different.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when you're older, you know, obviously you got a lot more responsibility. The fact that your parents are out there just doing what they can.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. I think for me as well, I can relate to everybody. It's probably a mixture of both. Like I said, dad didn't really grow up in a very dysfunctional kind of background. Mum wasn't so much. So it's kind of like two opposites attracting. So when growing up, mum would give us bare the love and dad was just most likely focused on the survival things because he's the man as well, obviously. Mum was stay-at-home mum. And I think I remember specifically, like I keep telling this story because I love her for it, but like mum gave us so much love that by the age of like 11, I was like, mum, you don't need to come to like my events for like drumming or performance anymore. Like I don't need the validation kind of thing. So that's how I knew from that. Really, to be fair, my savage mode or motivation kind of started from then. Like it was just kind of growing up from there and just kind of finding myself. So it was like you, Josh, it was kind of balanced. It was kind of half and half because you're still trying to figure stuff out. And yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead. Ask any question, guys.
What do you think? Because you said basically that the love was mostly coming from your mum. Do you think that the love from your dad would have been different from the love of your mum? Like, do they love in different ways?
They do. No, yeah, they do. 100%.
Yeah.
Mum's a lot more, because obviously, you know, I'm into personality types and stuff. I know the personality types are different. So I don't know how them two opposites came together. Don't ask me. So it's God. It's only God.
It's
But
God.
all I know is that mum is a very outspoken, affectionate, kind of quality time, physical touch type of person. Dad can be like that, but he's got to kind of trust you a little bit because he's got certain life experiences that have formed his process to be, or his mind's perception to be a certain type of way. But he is generally a nice person. Like if you come in the room now, he'd be cool and everybody and that. But I know how his mindset is compared to mum. So mum's very much, I'm just gonna love on him just all the time. So he got a lot of love after us, me and my sisters, because I'm the oldest as well, got a lot of love.
Yeah.
So growing up in that kind of made me the person I am, and there's no anger. Obviously, me and my dad, we've talked, we've had conversations, we've forgiven, we've done all that stuff. So
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah. Cool. Right, we're gonna talk about that's the past stuff. We're gonna talk about the present stuff, and I kind of want to do a little icebreaker. I've got 9 different questions, so it's gonna kind of be an either or. It's gonna be fun. Don't worry.
Feels like a
No
networking
pressure.
event.
No pressure.
Icebreakers.
No. All right. Cool.
Then I'm gonna get you into
So
groups.
either or game. Either or game. Question number 1: are you more focused on goals or values? Just pick one.
Jeez.
I'm a values guy, I think.
Values.
I used to be a goals guy though.
Right.
Yeah, but I think I'm a values guy.
I agree with you. I think I used to be a goals kind of person, but now it's
There's no right or wrong. I'm just doing
of course. I feel like now it's values now, and I think values.
That's fine. So you can describe if you want.
Yeah, no, I just kind of feel like because my perception currently is that values is more about a being, isn't it? I feel like goals is more about doing stuff. Do. Whereas values is more about like an essence type.
Your way of life.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Your
Like,
philosophy.
a way of being, way of life, way of existing. Do you see what I'm saying? And I think now for me, that's more of, there's a more holistic vibe of being in a world in that way. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just I've done this. It's like okay, you've done all of that, and this is not to downplay any type of achievements that anybody, including myself, may have accomplished, but I kind of get like a and so what with goals. Do you know what I mean? Whereas with values, do you see what I'm saying? Whereas with values, I don't think there's that and so what because it's so expansive and so limitless. Do you feel me? So yeah.
Okay. Values, Shola. There's, like I said,
there's no wrong.
Speak up, please.
I think I'm half and half.
Okay, cool.
I think before I was probably more goal orientated. Now I've always been 50-50 actually when I think about it. I've always held quite close to my values anyway.
Right.
Can I say there's a shift? No, I think it's still pretty much 50-50.
Okay.
I think it just depends on what's happening or whatever space I'm in.
Right.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you have a goal, do your values concerning that goal inform how you go about striving for the goal? Or like, are you like, no matter what, I'm prepared to like put my values to the side in order to achieve what it is? Because you said your thing is like if you go what I mean.
I just want to say I love you guys. I'm just you see I just planted the thing. I said nothing, bro. You man are just the seed is just growing, bro. I love you guys, man.
That's a really good question.
I've done this before.
This one is hard. I feel like I don't know. I think it depends on what
maybe
it
it depends on what the goal is.
Yeah,
I get that.
It depends on what it is.
Yeah.
There's times where I'm like, I just need to get this done. So I'm not really thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
And then there's times where actually my values reflect in how I achieve
the goal.
I'm still kind of 50-50. I know I should probably veer more towards one, but I think where I'm at the moment in life, they're both just as important as each other.
Sometimes it is a case of what works, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a case of, like you said, okay, identifying what exactly it is and how far away from my values am I willing to kind of go. If I have to. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I think you can be a little bit more flexible, and other times certain things might just be, it's a deal breaker. I'm not even going to shift on it. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
So perhaps that could
It depends.
I'm on the fence. It's alright.
That's cool. Like I said, it's just I just want people to understand where people's minds are at. Do you know what I mean? Just that's fine. Mine's values, probably a bit half and half, but probably more leaning to the value side. All right, question number 2: optimist or realist?
Hey.
Bro,
sorry. Just give me. Give me what you define as optimist and realist, just so we're clear.
Optimist is someone that obviously is similar to an idealist, but it's more like you're going to be optimistic about your day. You're waking up on a so like right, this is going to be a good day, positive. Whereas realist, you're kind of just like fam, like the reality of the situation is
Is
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Alright, say no more.
I'd say I'm a realist trying to become an optimist.
Yeah,
That's the only way I can feel it.
That's an excellent way of putting it.
similarly
like-
realist with optimistic tendencies.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
I'm trying to be optimistic about
Okay.
stuff, and sometimes I envy people who are always just like, oh my god, everything
Right,
is so
right, right, right.
amazing, and it's a brand new day, and and I'm trying to like lean into that more.
Mhm.
But like, I think growing up, I've always just been like, this is the reality of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
situation,
Facts.
and like, yeah, I have to. It's a work in progress.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
I think when with being a realist, it's a lot about acceptance, isn't it? That's what that sounds
Mm.
like to me.
Yeah.
Like it's not like resisting the universe, resisting the world. Like this is actually what it is at this point. So
Mm.
if I can be clear on what's happening, I can be clear about how I'm going to move from this
Yeah,
space.
right,
Whereas if
yeah.
you're just like, oh, like you said, just skipping through the desert,
Yeah.
the desert, you know, the daisies, like everything's sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can blinker what is actually happening.
Right.
And then you make moves that are kind of like not even
Mm.
beneficial to your circumstances because you've tried to do the whole positive mental attitude thing,
Mm.
which again, there are benefits to that, but sometimes just accepting what is
Yeah.
can help you maneuver in a kind of more appropriate way for
So
yourself.
realist for you.
100.
Okay.
Mhm. I say realist.
Optimist trying
realist,
to beg it.
yeah.
Realist
Realist with
better than
sprinkles.
Jono.
I think like an optimist, but I talk like a realist.
Okay, that's interesting.
Oh,
That's interesting. I
okay.
can see that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
think
That
like
makes
an
sense.
optimist, but I talk like a realist because I know what it is.
Mm.
Okay, cool.
But I don't mind lying to myself in order to move forward.
Now and again.
Yeah, I don't
In a
mind
healthy
lying to
way,
myself. Yeah,
obviously.
no,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
yeah, to
yeah.
like move forward kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So when you say lie to yourself, like, do you think you can give an example?
Like I think sometimes as much as we understand what the real situation is, you have to, I mean, with me anyway, I feel like I need to trick my mind to ensure that I push forward.
Okay.
If not so,
Alright.
then I'm just going to be like, well, what's the point?
Right,
And I
right,
think
right.
until you take the risk of actually moving forward, you're not going to really kind of like see what the benefits of whatever that thing
Yeah.
could be.
Mm.
It's just like in the morning when I think about it, I'm an optimist in that I think it's going to be an absolutely amazing day. I'm probably going to wake up and go to the gym or whatever. And then I wake up, I'm like, are you really going to go to the gym? But it's like, I have to kind of tell myself, like, actually, but it will be really good. You're going to feel amazing afterwards. And then, like, it's just temporary
Right.
pain for
Right,
like
right,
long term
right,
gain.
right.
Like that, I feel like that's kind of like the more optimism side of it. Although I
Mm.
know I absolutely hate the gym. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm having to trick my mind into,
Yeah,
That's what you
I
gotta
get
do.
what you mean.
Very cool.
How about you?
Makes sense. I'm dying on that optimist hill, bruv. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah,
I can
you
be,
are an
I will
optimist, to be
die on the
fair.
optimist
Yeah,
hill.
you're
I
an
don't care if the
optimist.
realism is in front of me. I'll be like, yeah, I will do it, but bun you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do it, but with an optimist mindset. That's kind of me. But yeah, that's coming. All right, guys, because there's quite a few of them. We've done 1 and
Really
2. Pick a
speech.
number between 3 and 9, and then I'm just gonna do it.
7.
All right,
Ooh.
independence or interdependence?
Sorry.
Inside.
With enter. Sorry.
Ye-
South London coming
Mm.
through, boy.
Yeah.
It depends on the scenario.
Pick one. Come on. You
No,
gotta
I think
speed through these.
if there's a can I speak? If it's a values thing, I think we're gonna lean to interdependence, isn't it? Because
Okay.
ultimately, like, we want to be working because we don't live in isolation.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We're always in relationship with people.
Mm.
So whether it's your personal partner, whether it's a family member, whether it's someone you work with,
Mm.
you want to be able to
Share
have
the
win,
same values
yeah,
and
and have
stuff,
win-win scenarios, isn't it? Like we're gonna do
Yeah.
things where both of us can benefit. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? If it's an independent thing, it's literally just you one.
That's
And
good.
from my opinion, for the long run, in the most part, just working for yourself and getting the win for you. If it's a win-lose, then it's a lose.
Right.
Mm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say I'm
So-
into it as well.
Okay, come on.
I was in, especially now that I'm older. Maybe if you asked me like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
I would have been
Yeah,
like, it's an
straight.
independent thing.
Independent.
100%.
Yeah.
Growth is a real
100%.
thing, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for real.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength.
Cool. Calm. Everyone's on the same way. All right.
Yeah.
This one's a good one. Being understood or being right?
Understood.
Although, sorry, you go.
I see his face
No, you continue.
You're like,
continue.
No, do you know what? Because like cognitively
Mm.
being understood. But again, when we're saying if I'm being a realist and I'm being true about how I've existed and what my program has been, I would be a liar if I said that there were times where it's just like,
Feeling right feels good.
Bam!
Yeah,
no, because you need to know. You know that kind of,
Yeah.
no, because it's this, and I would be given a lot of that.
Yeah.
So in terms of like the growth and when we're talking about values and the way of being, what I'm trying to be is definitely I'm trying to be more understandable and more understood. But I can't act as if there haven't been times where me trying to be right has been a thing.
I think it comes with age as well. Like maybe when I was younger, I cared more about like winning the argument and being like, yeah, I was like, see, I told you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think now, like being older and being in a relationship as well, you realize that like being right isn't always the win you think that it's gonna be. So it's better that you both have an understanding of each other. Do you know what I mean? Rather than like, oh yeah, I was right, but then you're not talking. So you're right, but the person's on the other side of the house, and like you're over here bare lonely. Do you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense.
Lonely.
I think we lie to ourselves though and think that we want to be right. I think it is just though. I think it is
really just
about wanting to be understood.
Yeah,
like being right is like an added plus.
Yeah.
But the truth is, you're not actually. If you're arguing with someone, you're trying to prove a point. It is just to be understood.
Yeah.
It never is actually really to be right.
About who's factually right or not. Yeah, that's true. You know,
when as you get older, then you realize that it doesn't really matter who's right.
Right.
It's more about understanding where everyone's perspective is coming from, and then kind of like rolling through with that. That's how I see it.
That makes sense.
That is also true though, for real.
That makes sense.
I'm liking this, guys. All right. I'm trying to pick which one. Having a title / position or serving without the title or position.
Okay.
Again, say that again, please.
Having a title / position, role, if you want to call it, or serving without a title or position.
Oh, okay.
The question is, what are you called to do? Is it personal? What's your personality? Is your personality to serve, or is it to be a leader? Because some people are called to serve, but they're trying to be leaders.
Yeah,
and some people are leaders just chilling and serving instead. So,
but also as well, does the is because what I'm trying to get at is that our title is important to you. But some people, a title is very important to them. Me, I don't give too much care about titles. I don't care. But I know some people.
I feel like everyone else cares about titles, and they need to see that this person is the person that is. Do you know what I mean?
In order for them to listen.
Exactly. Whereas I'm just like, I don't care. Okay. As long as it gets done, it gets done.
Yeah, I agree.
Having ownership or having responsibility?
Ownership.
Similar to
it's the same thing.
Can we give a bit of context to this?
Yeah, context.
Having ownership of something is obviously like, like owning a car or something like that. But giving a responsibility, again, similar to a role or title, is like, some people like that. It's almost like
stewarding, you mean?
Yeah, almost like being a 9-to-5 versus like entrepreneur type of thing.
I'm an ownership guy. I like ownership.
Yeah, ownership.
Okay, cool.
I like ownership because with ownership comes responsibility anyway. Yeah. So you might as well own it, right?
True, but some people, like I said, they like the title of being in a position, being in a role, and just controlling everything. Just because.
Right. Yeah, I like ownership. What about you?
If these are the definitions that we're working with, I've got to go with ownership. Because yeah.
I'll do one more. Equality or justice?
Oh,
yeah,
age-old question.
So, you really just decided to just...
Yeah. Come on, you should know me. You know me. Each of you know me in a unique way. You know this.
I'm guessing like justice is more like equity, is what you're saying. Equality versus equity. Is that what you kind of mean? Because I'm not really clicking on the distinction.
Justice for you would be like, if someone's done something wrong, I want justice for that person. If someone stole Josh's car, I need to find out, and that problem needs to get solved. Whereas if equality is like every single person kind of needs, like, we need a balance.
Balance of what? His car was stolen.
For justice.
Okay.
Because I see it like, if you're in a scenario where maybe, I'm just trying to get a good example. Let's say there's a group of people and like they're all trying to achieve something.
Right.
Maybe I'm thinking about it more from like a work perspective. Okay. That's the best way to kind of do it. In that you can have all these people come in and put in something together. But if, let's say, for instance, there's a reward and let's say one person's put in maybe 60%, another person's put in only 40%, does it deserve to really be split like equally
50-50.
amongst the two of them. Like,
yeah.
I feel like the one who
Yeah.
really deserves
Justice,
more
definitely.
technically is the one
Yeah,
who's
I'm a-
60
yeah,
compared to the
justice.
40.
Is it though?
Man said it with
Is
chest, like,
though?
yeah,
Like,
justice.
you
But is
use
it though?
the easy
Because
times to
you
say
don't
sis
know.
scarred me. Like,
Yeah,
But
justice.
you
those
don't-
that group work where
Fam.
we come
That
together.
group
Of course,
work.
I hear that.
That
And
one
you done
person,
there.
group
And then,
course
that one
was the
person
one.
ain't done anything, but they're still getting that grade.
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
justice.
yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm
I'm
not trying to be
justice.
funny. No, it's
Justice.
justice.
nah, I
It's
hear
in the
that.
heart of hearts. It's justice.
Justice is just.
Everyone should get the credit for what they did. If I didn't do any, like, I don't like taking
right,
credit
right.
for things. I don't even like taking credit for things that I had nothing to do with.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean? I only want the credit for what I did.
I don't know though, because there's as I said, I wear multiple hats, and it's my teacher brain is saying, okay, but I know, for example, like there's students in my class who everyone has to do the same task,
Right.
yeah. Some of them can complete it without any support or
The
assistance from the
diversity is
teacher.
going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some other people are going to need one or two answers already
Mhm.
complete,
Mhm.
so they don't have to do the full
thing.
extent because
Right.
their capacity isn't necessarily at the same par as the
Mhm.
person who can just do it independently,
Got you.
right? So
Mhm.
now if this student has been given that scaffolded task
Mhm.
and this student has done it all independently, but at the end of the lesson they both completed it, is this one supposed to get a B and this one supposed to get an A?
Yeah.
And based on her
No.
justice, based on her
Yeah.
justice,
But this is what I'm saying. But
No,
based
because-
on that, but
So
this is
that
what I'm
means
saying.
you're
But
equality then.
so this is what
Yeah,
this
but
is
they
why I'm
haven't-
asking the
but
question,
the reason
because
why I
they've
said-
both done the task and they've done it to their capacity. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not like this student has
hear
done
you,
any
but-
less. This student has done exactly what they are
Right.
able to do, and they've achieved and completed the task just as this one has. So this is why I'm saying you got to kind of. It's
I
sticky.
don't agree.
You
That's
see
like
what I'm saying?
saying if
This
you've
student
got
is they're not going to get a B. They've completed the task. Everything's answers. They've demonstrated that they have they've understood the concept that they've been taught. So is this one. So this one's now got to get a B
But
on the
then how
report,
can
and
you?
this one
But then
gets an
how
A.
can you keep them in the same system? I
This
would
is-
have to
that's
judge them on
exactly it,
two
yeah.
different scales entirely. Like I'd have to judge them separately.
Why?
I can't wrap my head around.
But you can't. They're all in the same educational system. When you go to GCSEs, you don't say, well, you kind of do in the sense that some people get foundation and some people get higher.
Yeah.
But like as you're going through that, again, in the classroom, we're not gonna give you a B because you had a little bit of help, and we're gonna that it doesn't work like that.
No, but when I remember that, okay, if we're gonna use that same example, when I was in school and I was in, let's say, for instance, we was doing maths. Let's say the textbooks, like it was maths. You got higher class, you got
intermediate,
and then
Yeah.
you've got foundation.
Foundation.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
those who are in the higher class are not learning the same thing as
As the
those who are in
people
They're
intermediate
not.
and those who are in foundation. Yeah. The C I get in a foundation exam is not the same C that you get in a higher exam.
It's not. The
It's
same.
not.
Because the questions are very different,
Different.
because you've got two different capacities.
Pass marks are different.
But that's
everything,
because
yeah.
you're not being tested on the same things. So we're not talking about the same thing, because now you're doing something completely different from what I'm doing. The example I'm giving is both people have the same things to do. It's just that this person got a little bit of help. What you're saying is these people are doing that and these people are doing that, and but it's not the same.
I get what you're saying.
Do you see what I'm saying?
But I struggle to wrap my head
Yeah.
around it.
and this is why I asked the question, because you're clearly on equality,
Yeah.
justice,
Equity.
justice.
Sorry.
Okay,
But
okay,
yeah,
no,
equity,
that's
for the
fine.
words, for the words, you see what I'm
That's
saying?
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Justice and justice.
Yeah, justice. I am the Batman.
Calm, calm. All right. Okay, cool. Let's talk about. We're still in the present day. How does the way you were raised affect your view on how you see the world?
Jeez.
It affects it a lot.
Okay.
Massively, yeah.
Do you think, like, to kind of extend that question, do you think your parents or your raising of the influence of your parents has broadened your perspective, or has it narrowed it to like, this is how I see my lens, or this is my lens?
What? Say that again.
How you were raised, right?
Yeah.
In obviously through your parents or however you were raised, yeah. Do you think the perspective of how you see the world now is broader, or do you think their influence on how you were raised affected you to be like, this is how I see my lens from this one perspective?
The thing is, I feel like, sorry to cut you.
No, it's
Go on.
fine.
I feel like depending on the environment outside of the home,
Okay.
I think when you have opportunities to be exposed to different things, then your lens gets wider.
Right.
But if I was to say, okay, from what I got in the home, what does my lens look like? Then I would say that my lens was narrower. Like, I don't feel like my parents went out of their way to expose me to like all the different possibilities of life. Do you know what I mean? I think they were very much like, they weren't like, you have to be a doctor, a lawyer, you have to be they weren't like that, but I think because of their background and where they were coming from,
Right.
they have a very like, we came to this country, do you know what I'm saying? We're trying to like get on the property ladder, we're trying to work, we're trying to get a better life for it, we're trying to educate our kids, blah, blah, blah. So they're very one track minded.
Right.
I think because of going to school, meeting people of different cultures, different backgrounds, traveling, seeing other places and stuff like that, I was able to be like, oh, okay, there's more to the world than just like what my parents know.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas I know I have friends who, because of the way they grew up, their parents exposed them to like so many different things. Like, oh, we're going hiking, and then now we're going here. We're going traveling. We're going to go to Thailand, and well, we're going to go, I don't know, like live on a boat, or we're gonna. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, so they're coming in like, oh yeah, like there's bare things you can do, and you're just like, oh man, just 6 wings and chips. That's what man knows.
That's
Get
funny.
me? So yeah, I would say because of the outside influences, I've been able to like broaden my lens. But if it's just down to my household, I would say like it's pretty kind of narrow focused.
Interesting. I think for me it's a wild one because I think I had both what you're talking about in the house.
Oh, okay.
So I had from one parent very narrow, very kind of restrictive.
Yeah, same.
And from the other parent, it was very expansive and wide and do this. And so I did actually have not so much necessarily, kind of similar to you, I didn't necessarily have the travels and stuff, but the concept of it was very real in my house. Do you know what I mean? The concept of trying new things and being exposed to like instruments and music and activities and things like that. So yeah, I think from one side of my house was very, there's more, and the other side was very protective and safe and no and this and do you know what I mean? So I kind of had both.
Did you gravitate more towards the expansive?
Oh, 1000%. 1000%, bro. To the point I get in trouble because I'm out here doing all the things, and then it's like, what? It's like, yo, relax. It's all right, isn't it? Like, it's all right. So yeah.
And which parent was the expansive one, and which parent?
Which one do you think?
I think the mum was probably
definitely
mum.
It was definitely my mum. Yeah, like my mum was all about, or like I've just said, isn't it? Like she would always want me to do things. She'd always want me to explore, and she was always about that. From very young, she would get me to do like just different activities and stuff. She was never like that mum who just have their child sat in front of the TV and in the yard, and do you know what I mean? Was always making stuff and creative and them kind of vibes. And so, yeah, big up mumsy.
Yeah, it's mums are
Love
like
you
that,
much.
isn't it? Yeah, shout out to all the mums who's like.
So yeah, she was very much about that.
I'm still trying to figure it out. I think I was a bit of both. I think I was very like guided in terms of values,
Right.
but I was allowed to explore within restrictions.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's a weird one because technically my parents weren't together when they raised me for the majority of my life.
Right.
So I used to think my dad was the one that was very like open, would allow me to do things. So if I ever went to go stay with my dad and I went to go play out, my dad's not checking up on me every second, like where are you, etc., etc. So I used to think he was the one that was maybe a bit more like broad and open, but funnily enough, actually, from a mentality perspective, he's actually a lot more narrow-minded. So in his mind, it's like, you should have been a doctor, you should have been a lawyer, you should have been an accountant, you should have all these things. I'm like, huh? Whereas my mum was kind of like, yeah, just do what you want. But then when it came to value, she was quite strict. So she was the one that was like, okay, you can go out, but you have to be home by 4:00. And I'm like, 4:00? What do you mean? Like, but now I'm older, I understand where that came from because it kind of gave me a level of discipline. But yeah, she was more like, yeah, you can go away and do it. So right, if you want to study fashion or whatever, like that's okay. Whereas I remember going to my dad and be like, I don't know why you went to go and study fashion. Like, what is that? Like, why didn't you go and study law? Why didn't you go and like study medicine or whatever? So it's funny. My parents, I think, are half and half. It just depends on what it is.
Yeah. I think mine's the same. I think my parents are kind of half and half. Mum was very much similar like most of the other mums. Very just like try this, try that. Dad, I don't think he really kind of had the time or had to sit down to kind of think about that because he was being obviously growing up in the 90s and stuff. As a man, you're just like, just work. Right. So
Mm.
mum did all the like activities and stuff majority of
Yeah.
the time, and then when he did have time off, he would, but then he would obviously be resting because he'd be out cold or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think growing up, my view of the world has always been big. Like I've always had a huge mindset. It's just been cultivated through different experiences. Like you said, the outside world has influenced a lot, and it's helped me just think bigger and do the things that I'm able to do now, which I can,
100%.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
Can I just like
Go ahead.
just very quickly expand on that, like, because I think when you were talking about your dad's kind of view of your profession and stuff, when again like when I was little, like no one in my family speaks another language. Can I just say that?
Okay.
No one in my family speaks another language, and when I was younger, like
What language is it?
again?
What language do you speak?
Spanish, French, and Portuguese.
There we go.
Crazy.
I just had to
So-
put it out there. Just
Crazy.
So when I was little and I got this interest in French, again, it was just I don't know where it came from. Convinced my mum to buy me like a cassette, like big up everyone who still remembers cassettes.
okay.
So my mum got me this cassette, and I would literally just put it on, play it, and teach myself. Like, and again, she would support that. Do you know what I'm saying? So fast forward to when I get to uni now, and I want to study languages at uni. My dad's like, "What you want to study language for?"
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, who does that? Like, what
Yeah.
kind of job are you gonna get with this? And when I said I wanted to move abroad, I didn't even want to study at uni in England. I wanted to go and study abroad. Family's like, there ain't no black people there. We want to go and be there for. Do you see what I'm saying? So those are good. I was just kind of adding these in as additional examples of how one side was very kind of limiting of me, and another side, because my mum was like, if that's what you want to do, like,
Do you feel like
yeah,
question? Do you feel like that was more of his fear than yours?
1000%.
Okay.
Yeah. At the time, I didn't know
Obviously,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, at the time, I didn't know that. I wasn't trying to acknowledge that, like, because as children or younger people, you don't think like that. You just think, my dad's trying to, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't acknowledge anything like that. But again, and this kind of taps into what I said at the beginning when we was talking about our parents and the shifts of our dynamics and relationships as we're getting older. Now, as in my womanhood and seeing my dad as a man and not as my dad,
Right.
now I can see,
Right.
you know, okay, you was fearful in yourself for maybe things that you've experienced. You were fearful for your child, and you were doing what you believe to be the protective thing, isn't it? Where even with
Exactly.
your protection was out of your own fear for yourself, however that played out for you. Like now I can see that in a way that I absolutely didn't see that at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, I just kind of feel like that was for me, that was a kind of example of what I felt at the time. Felt like I was being kind of boxed.
in,
Yeah. Whereas the other side was like, yeah, no, that's a good look. Like go and do that and see what that's about and
Right.
explore it. And so yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar situation. You just brought it back to my remembrance. Like dad was he's had business mindsets, but majority of his life has been like 9 to 5 in whatever capacity, great jobs, whatever. But for me, I've always been like bun Babylon in it and work for myself. Like you know me guys already. So growing up in that mindset, he hasn't known how to do that successfully in a way where it's like, okay, I can see the benefit of that long term. So when I'm young and I'm like, yo, I don't really want to work for anyone. I want to build my own business. And he's like, how are you going to do that? You can do it, but is it going to bring in bread consistently? Until it started really working and he saw it as I was getting older, he was like, okay, I can kind of trust it now. Do you know what I mean?
But you know what it is as well?
Timing, innit?
Yeah, and it's also like, because he's not done it,
That's what
the
I
as a
thing.
mean.
dad,
Yeah.
he's
Your
like,
thing.
I can't even help you.
Yeah.
I don't even know how
right,
to help
right,
you do this. So
right.
let me steer you into something that I can
Right,
advise
right.
you in
That's
because I have
yeah.
experience.
But I'm
in
like,
that.
that's not
Uh-huh.
God's plan.
But that's
though. Like, I'm trying to
exactly-
do this,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like, but you're trying to, and then
Yeah, it's
that's what
tough.
mean kind
Because
of
as a
little
dad,
bit
I
of
can
a-
imagine he wants to be able to help his
Of
son.
course.
So if you're like, I want to be an entrepreneur, and he doesn't know the first thing about that, he's probably thinking like,
Right, yeah.
how
There's
am
an
I so-"
insecurity in
Yeah,
him.
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right, this one's another deep one. So,
Oh, brother.
how do I say this now? What are some of the things that we find difficult to face or take accountability for at this present day, based on the upbringings and stuff that we've had growing up? Or the realities, I should say, the reality checks that we've had to kind of be like, you know what? Because of this happening in our past, I've kind of had to deal with this or address this certain type of way or change this for whatever reason.
I think for me, off bat, I would say apologizing.
Okay.
Like that is something. It is a constant like labor of love for myself. because, yeah, I have to take accountability for the fact that my programming has led me to find it challenging to apologize. So that's not to say that now I can't. I'm a lot better at being able to do it, but I still recognize there's stuff around being able to apologize for me. And I think that is a direct link to things that happened in my house and relationships between my parents and between my parents and myself. And I think all of us from like African and Caribbean backgrounds, I don't know about you, I'm going to throw it out there and be like, more time, our parents don't know how to apologize.
They don't.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I think, yeah, as a kind of, what would I even say, a result of that, that's something that I am working on taking more accountability for when there's space for me to apologize, acknowledging that, and then taking the steps to apologize and apologize properly. Because I think it's very easy just to be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, but sorry for what?
Right.
What have you actually done?
Yeah.
What is the impact of the thing that you've done? And what are you, being me, gonna do to make this different? That's very difficult for me right now.
Is that, would you say, apology and forgiveness? Because obviously forgiveness kind of starts from the inside out, and then the apology is kind of like the cause and effect of.
Yeah, I feel like, again, like forgiveness is something that does take time, because especially if I feel like I've been affronted, and again, I'm way better than this. If talk to me about this a couple of years ago, forgiveness where, for who? But again, the process of the learning, it's not for the other person.
It's for yourself.
Forgiveness is for myself, and for a long time I wasn't aware of that concept.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm better at forgiving, and I think in terms of being better at forgiving, in order to get to the apology, I have to be able to forgive me first for whatever is the affront that I caused to the other person. I have to be like, do you know what? Forgive yourself for doing X, Y, Z, Y, and it may have been because of whatever reason. So yeah, and so to bring it back to the question about accountability, like I need to take more accountability for being able to apologize, because I don't always do it in a way that I would like to. I say that.
Anyone else?
I'd say trust.
Okay.
Trusting people.
Right.
It's a bit hard.
Okay. Process is a process.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Not
cool.
to say I don't trust people, but I think once something's happened, my childhood and growing up and stuff has influenced me in a way of like, okay, so once something's happened, like dealing with the aftermath, that element of it.
So when you meet someone, is it you're trusting them at 100 or 75, or is it 50%, and then you kind of like work from there?
I mean, I guess like it's like I trust you with a pinch of salt.
Okay, it wasn't
I mean,
lower than 50%.
No. It's like more like kind of like I trust you till you mess up.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Whereas you should just trust someone, and then if something happens, everyone's perfect in it. So you just forgive and you move on, kind of situation. It's taken me a while to learn to just rebuild the trust with someone, rather than just being like, oh, you've done something, okay, cool, bye, kind of situation. Like, because I can forgive someone, that the forgiveness bit is not a problem. It's more like the aftermath. Like, can I learn to rebuild that trust with that person if they're worth it? Obviously, not just anybody.
Yeah.
If they're worth it, then like learning to actually rebuild that, and that's in all dynamics of relationships, even when it's like friendships, like partners, etc.
Interesting.
I think for myself, I can be quite hard on myself. I think forgiving myself is like, I can forgive other people like a lot easier than I can like forgive myself. I beat myself up a lot like when I make mistakes, which is weird because I don't think I grew up in a household where like every time I made a mistake, like they were on my neck or anything like that. Maybe it's some kind of like weird inbuilt thing where I'm just like, not that I'm a perfectionist, but I really hate like making mistakes or like messing up things. Like I'm working on like giving myself more grace, I guess. Right. Yeah, I would say that's probably my thing that I'm working on. Yeah,
I think for me, you'll be surprised to hear this. I think it's letting go, but it's not in the letting go that you think of. I think it's more coming back to the whole justice situation. Like, I don't care if you disrespect me, but if you disrespect my people, it's arms house, bruv. Like, serious. It's like, but I'm learning, especially like my mum's taught me, it's like, you just got to let that go. And I'm like, no, but did you not see what they did? Like, it's wrong. I need to go fix that thing because that's my boy. Do you get me? But I've learned over the years to like let it go. Obviously, forgiveness has been an easier thing over the years for me. And again, that's my relationship with God as well, and not getting, because really, to be fair, I should be a lot angrier than I am right now. I should have some serious wrath on me, like serious, because like, but I've learned I can't do my purpose having all of that. I wouldn't have got this far
you can't
right now.
carry
With
all of that.
There's no way. So I've had to let that go over the years and forgive and go through my own journey and understand that, okay, just, you know what? If people want to act the fool, let them act the fool. It's not your responsibility to go and do that and fix it and whatever the case is, just leave it. If when it's in your own parameter, your business, your environment, yeah, you can do that. But sometimes you just let God deal with them, innit? Because if it's me now, I'll be switching into the Incredible Hulk and I will not be the nice guy that everybody sees today. And people were like, rare foreign, like my image would be totally tainted because I'm just like, do you know what I mean? But thankfully, you know, if you don't have to see that, so it's all good. Okay, cool. Right. On a lighter note, the future is what be the ideal image of your future when it comes to family, and what does that look like?
Married with kids.
Okay.
In the house, white fence.
American dream.
Come on.
Optimist, isn't it?
Nah, I'm joking. But no, married with kids.
Okay.
Kind of not making the same mistakes that my parents made. That kind of situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you say the question again, please?
What is the ideal image of your future when it comes to family? What does it look like?
Do you know what? I feel like for me, currently right now, it's probably going to be more centered. My response is probably going to be more centered around the values of my family, not even what it looks like per se. So I just want a family that's healthy. I want a family that is safe. I want a family that is content, ultimately, like healthy, healthy and content in it, because I feel like if you are working on those dynamics, then everything else will pattern. Do you know what I mean? So I think, the vision of my family is a family that's healthy, and all the stuff that I just said.
I think I'd agree as well. Like with both of you guys, I think definitely values orientated, and also when I observe or when I reflect on like my childhood, and then also the childhoods of like some of my friends, even if they had like both parents in the home, I felt like, especially as a man, I felt like the fathers were so focused on providing that they weren't really like present in our, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100.
So my thing is always like, I hope that I'm a dad that is obviously, yes, providing for my family, but I'm also like spending like quality
100%.
time like with my family. Like if God blesses me with more than just one kid, then like also having individual time with each of my children, not just lumping them all into one group and being like, all right, cool, do you know what I'm saying? And like, do you know what I'm saying? And like hopefully I can be like, all right, cool, this weekend, do you know what I mean? That's what I'm hoping that, God willing, I'm
daddy daughter dates and all them things.
What'd
you say? Daddy daughter dates and all that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like,
no, I
so
respect
that no
that.
idiot boy
Same,
can just
same, bro.
twang them. Do you know what I mean?
Same thing, man. Same thing. I'm gonna put a spanner in the works. What would you want a partner that was raised the same way as you or different?
Different. I got too much trauma.
I said I got too much trauma.
I would say different. I would like someone else to bring. Like I know what I've got to.
Before you start, single.
Yeah, I'm
single.
Yes.
Taken. Single. Taken.
Taken.
Single.
So I would want someone who brings a different dynamic to the table. So it's like, in a way, it's that we're bringing two different perspectives or two different sides together, and then we're kind of growing from there. So I can learn from you, you can learn from me, kind of situation.
Right.
And then obviously our family, like our kids will learn from the both of us, and hopefully actually our families as well will learn from us.
Interesting.
Because I feel like even though you're younger than your parents, you can still teach your parents something as well. It's never too late for you to learn. I know.
But the question is, do you want to though? That's the real question.
Exactly.
My answer right now is not gonna be the answer everyone's gonna like. I tell you that right now.
But you'd be surprised about like how your family dynamic, etc., could actually, I guess, not affect, but I guess influence.
Yeah.
Impact.
And yeah, like, you know, your parents' relationship, for instance, you know what I mean? Just
Very
from
true.
small observations, they kind of have that reflection of, oh, you know what, I realized I didn't do this, you know, actually, I should have probably done so. And then unfortunately, sometimes they try to do like the whole catch up thing. But what you'll then find is that they're now doing it. No. But
You're
mine
open.
is-
It's another podcast
Mine is-
episode. Come on,
Mine is-
you have to. I'm gonna have to do that one. You force me to. You force my hand.
Mine
I'm
has to
gonna have to
catch
do that
up.
one.
Mine has to catch up
Yeah.
though. What you then find though is that they're then showing the love that sometimes you might not have received to your kids.
Yeah, but I'm.
Which is
yeah.
Shala.
That's another podcast
I
still.
know. But
I'm
it
not
is.
down.
But it
I'm not.
is
I'm like,
okay,
dude,
though.
fam.
It is actually alright.
This is
It's
where
alright,
this is
it's
this is the
alright.
letting go I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking because I'm like, you should have done it right the
It's
first
alright.
time.
Yeah,
bro.
no,
You get me? But everyone's
Hold on,
capacity is
everyone's
different.
capacity-
I've learned to let
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Yeah, guys, I'm sharing. I'm being honest
Relinquish.
about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Go
yeah.
detachment, my bro.
Heal.
No, I'm healed. I'm just saying. It's just.
Healed.
I'm
Are
just like.
you?
Don't.
Are we
no,
ever?
no,
Are we
I have no
ever?
problem with it.
Are we
But I'm
ever
just saying.
healed?
Don't come and play knock down ginger on my door, innit? That's what I'm just
I
saying.
don't think so.
Don't come play.
so.
How you gonna come play knock down ginger on my door and just be like, expect me to take it, bruv? Come on, really?
Yeah, but I feel like at this age, like, you did it when you was a kid. You'd be like, okay, like it's not that deep.
Yeah, but I'm not the kid though.
Whereas before, back in the day, they were stressing. They
Okay,
were
fair.
stressing.
I hear what you're saying.
We've
You
got
are
a ring
right.
now. We don't have to actually
Yeah,
stress. Do you know what I'm
that's
saying?
true,
that's
Like
true.
it's not that deep.
I
Let
agree
go.
with you. I've let go.
Sorry,
Alright.
can I just sidebar the? No, let's finish the conversation
yeah.
and then I'll do the.
Oh, you're
I know
talking
what
about the
you're
whole
gonna
being
say.
healed
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
So expand on it. Expand.
No, I was just saying because you said you in your commentary just now you were like I'm healed, and then what happened? Did you say something?
No, I'm saying that.
No,
No,
am
when
associated
I
by
kind of
Firo,
when
but
I
yeah.
confronted that and when I
Mm.
challenged that statement, Charlotte was like, "Do you not think so?" And I said, "No, I don't think that we're ever healed of anything."
Oh, and that's okay. I see.
so-
See, that's another whole podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna. I'll bring you back for that one.
Fair.
Don't worry.
Mm,
We'll bring you that one. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're different because you're taken, bro.
yeah.
Okay.
I think if you had asked me like a year and a half, 2 years ago,
Okay.
I would have been like, I want someone who had the exact same
same.
upbringing as me. But I think I see a lot of value, like you were saying, in being with someone who's had a completely different upbringing. Because even if their upbringing was quote unquote worse than yours or
Right.
whatever, I think if they have the right mindset and attitude towards wanting to have a different outcome,
Right.
they'll kind of be in sync with you. Obviously, they've still got their own stuff to work
Yeah.
out.
Right.
But also, I think they'll also help you to not be complacent. Because I think if you have two people that come from quote unquote good households, you kind of maybe take for granted that, oh, like, yeah, we both grew up, do you know what I
Could
mean?
be,
Both
yeah.
parents.
You're right.
And so, yeah, we'll just do what our parents did because that
Mhm.
worked, blah, blah, blah. Whereas if you have maybe one of you who like grew up in maybe a more difficult situation, then they're probably going to be a bit more vigilant about like really putting the things in place to make
Right.
sure that like
Yeah.
you guys create the kind of family environment you want. So I think there's a lot of value in being with someone who has a different kind of like upbringing to you. Even if it wasn't inherently bad, even if it was just different, you can learn a lot from each other.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's insights that they're gonna have from their perspective that you might not have from
Exactly.
yours.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of like more leaning to what you've said, but again, there's benefits to both sides, isn't it? There are definitely
Mhm.
benefits to having somebody who is similar to you, but same, no. Similarities, yes, but I do also agree in the terms of like the expansiveness of having somebody different perspectives, different insights. I think that it just enriches your relationship, your connection, and then
Yeah.
it provides more for your children as well, so they're not just seeing the same.
Yeah.
Because then if
yeah.
the parents did it and you've done it the same and your partner's coming with the same, it's just like, how are we growing? How are we
Yeah.
developing? How are we doing things
You're not
differently?
optimizing
You're
really. You're
not.
just continuing
Do you see
whatever
what I'm
you've
saying?
come from.
So yeah, so I think that growth comes from the differences. In a
What
lot of
about
ways.
you?
Me, ideally, going back to my optimism versus reality, like I know I did what I want, but like you said, I know the reality that may not be the case. So be prepared for that, and like you said, be open to learning different perspectives, which I am anyway.
But what would
But-
you prefer though? That was what the
Probably the
question
same.
was. You want
Like,
someone with the same kind of.
Yeah, probably.
Are we
definitely
saying
that.
that with all that though, values is most probably still more at the forefront anyway?
Yeah.
Everything else is just like a
Yeah.
it's an
It
added,
is,
it's an
but
added
it's
value,
a capacity thing, isn't it?
Sorry, it's my teacher. Hand up.
No,
sorry.
it's a capacity thing because the capacity for everybody is going to be different. I could be in a relationship, yeah, we talk about substance theory and all that stuff, like my theory I made up. But I could be in a relationship with someone and say, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, obviously no one's gonna be 10 apart from Jesus. Like, if I'm on a 6 and she's on a 6, but then another relationship, they could be good, but they're on a 4 and like mentally, emotionally. You know what I'm saying? So it's about capacity at the end of the day.
So, okay, so just for my clarification then, so you saying, you want someone who's the same as you in terms of your value system, or you're saying you want someone who was raised the same as you?
Probably mixture, similar to both. Similar, not same, similar.
Okay, because I feel like people can be raised completely different, have completely
Oh, yeah,
different
of
home
course.
dynamics, but if themselves as an adult, if we share values, then to me it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
what
I agree with that
background you
100%.
come from.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm
100%.
saying?
Yeah.
But like, I understand the reality that if God gives me a woman that I might need to actually cultivate, well, I'll need to anyway, but I'm gonna have to do probably a little bit extra work on, like, to help her to get to where she is, to kind of bring her up to the level that I'm at, then I'm happy to put in that work. Do you understand? I'm not going to close off everything, because I understand that things in the Bible and that things were not always equal. Sometimes people had to give and take. And also as well, partners develop over the years. Like, I remember my mum, she was, as much as she's loving, she was very kind of like shy, but she wasn't very like outgoing in the sense of like, oh, I want to do this for myself. Now, can't tell her nothing. She'll go here, there, everywhere. She's taken over the world. She's got her own ministries, whatever.
Come on,
But it's taken time over the years to get to that point.
Yeah.
And my dad's had to like kind of help her by like, no,
Support
you can
her,
do it. And, do
encourage her
you know what I mean?
and
So,
stuff,
because I've seen that dynamic,
so
I'm like,
interesting.
okay, like your starting basis in the marriage might be different, but give it 5, 10, 15 years, you've both grown to a whole nother level. And because you've done it together now, it's pushed everything up. So, like I said, I know what my optimism is, but the reality of the situation is different. And if I can get a balance, cool.
That's very interesting. Sorry, on a side note, this AC is blowing on me differently. I've been trying to firm it for the longest, and now just like, can we just get it on a little?
Oh, is it? No, it's cool. We're finishing up anyway. It's cool. It's cool.
Oh, we are.
But yeah, we're on the last question. I was gonna say, just to obviously end it with a nice note, what are you thankful for right now?
Life.
Okay.
I'm thankful for the journey, bro.
Yeah.
Literally. I'm thankful for the ebbs, the flows, the ups, the downs. I'm thankful for all of that, because all of it, as cliche as it might sound, all of that has now got me to a point where I can see what I can see in the way that I see it. And I feel I'm quite comfortable with where I'm at right now. So I'm very, very grateful for my journey still.
Yeah, I would say the same, like life's journey. I think with the ebbs and flows, like when you're in the valley, you're just like, this is clapped. Get me out of here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then once you're through it, and then you see that the lessons that you've learned, do you know what I mean? And like what you've picked up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're like, I needed to go through that. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely appreciate it for the journey.
Calm. Shala, you appreciate anything?
You said life.
Oh, you did say life. Sorry, my
life
bad.
is just a bunch of lessons that you never stop learning.
True. I'm thankful for you guys, obviously. No, man. No, do you know what it is as well? The reason why I say that is because for the last decade, I've done a lot of my success has been independent. A lot of it. Like, it's fair enough, mum and dad have been there, but majority of it has just been me in my back cave working. It's just been me God in a brick wall. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So now I've been in a space where it's like open up, where I'm being forced to be social. I'm being forced to meet people. I'm forced to do this. I'm like, my core team, which you guys, I don't know if you know this, but you guys are in like my inner circle. Like, I'm appreciative of you guys for real, because I can talk to you guys on the phone whenever and be like, yo, what do you thought about? And we've all had like long hour conversations between all of us. So I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for the process as well, like everyone else. Like, I wouldn't have been the person. Shout out to mum and dad as well. I love you both, obviously. Like, I know, fair enough, you're not perfect, but I still love you guys. Even though you get on my nerves and you still treat me like I'm 5, even though I'm man's in his mid-30s.
You were doing well, and then you've gone off
No,
track.
they know, they're laughing. They know. I've got good banter. This is the one thing I got with my parents, is that regardless of whatever, I've got good banter and relationship with them. So that's a good thing. So they understand anyway. But yeah, again, I'm just thankful for life. And man, just part of the journey. Trust God, trust the process. It is what it is. But yeah, I will thank you guys for coming. Social medias, everybody. And then I'm going to put it in the description of the video. But
okay, cool.
if you've got anything coming up, pitch your business thing now. Do whatever it is. Just do it now.
I don't have anything coming up at the moment.
Man, just release something. Don't lie. We'll leave it. We'll leave it. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. I'll leave
Please.
it.
Can we,
Socials. Oh, what's my socials again? I've taken a little break from
Same.
socials.
I'll put it in the description. But
Yeah,
it's
but it's
Same.
at it's Joshua ITSJOSHYOUARE on Twitter and Instagram.
good. He's still on Twitter. You know, I had to get rid.
Listen to her.
I had to get rid. It's toxic. I had to
Yeah,
get
it's
rid.
toxic.
Anyway,
I'll give
moving
my
on.
holistic page because I got again multiple hats and all that. So
Okay.
mine is the Afia Effect, and that's AFFIYA Effect. Yeah, the Afia Effect.
Mhm.
Socials.
And I start. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go.
No, go ahead. Go.
No.
No, seriously, finish.
No, I was literally just gonna say. I know at the top of the pod, I started with something else and I closed something. But again, multiple hats. It just
Yeah,
It's
it'd
cool,
be
it's
like
cool.
that.
I'm gonna put everything in the description in the
Thanks so
video
much.
anyways. That's cool.
Yeah.
But just go on.
Socials.
Socials.
Charlotte Eshea-Chio. I can't even say it. My goodness.
Oh.
Charlotte Eshea-Chio.
Okay.
That's my social. And then
You
I've got
spell it
Charlotte's
for
Delight,
us.
which is my cake socials as well. But don't
Cool.
tag that. It's
Okay.
fine because I'm
All
a
right.
bit of
Fine.
a
Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you. I got
yeah,
you. I got
I'm
you.
on a bit of a holiday at the moment.
Everyone's on
Everyone,
holidays.
listen.
Yeah, no, life is
Life
life.
is life.
Bro.
Recession and that.
I
For
have a
real.
bit of a break. I need to
Nah,
breathe,
for real,
you know?
for
So,
real.
I'm still doing them for obviously like clients I've already got
Right,
and
right,
stuff.
right,
But
right.
yeah, I'm currently trying to rebuild that brand. So yeah.
Nice.
All right. Cool. All right. Thank you guys for coming. Until next time, guys. All right.
Thank you
Peace.
for having us.
You're welcome. Cool.